Yeah.
I've done that.
Midnight.
Yeah.
He's gonna drink
Hey
beer.
y'all, I have two microphones. Can you hear me? First of all, I know everybody has places to be, but if you're staying with me, we're going to have a good time. So thank you so much for coming to my second panel here. Who was here yesterday? Oh, that makes me happy. So for guys who have not been here before, we're getting ready to play something I like to call the world's shittiest game show. And it is pretty shitty. So let me tell you how it goes. So it starts off like, I pick a number between 1 and 125. I write it down on a piece of paper, so I will not cheat you. Although yesterday, 2 people said the same number, but I thought the person who said 17 said 70. So there are actually 2 winners of the World's Shittiest Game Show, but we're going to try to prevent that today. So how you play is, you line up on the, like these people. Line up on the sides, ask me a question. I will try to answer start to answer your question. I'll forget what you asked. I'll tell a totally different story. Talk about how I used to confuse deodorant with antiperspirant, and I won't remember that. I'll admit to committing a crime at some point. Like I admitted, I grew weed illegally for 7 years. I don't know why I told that, but I told it. I'll talk about my penis a little bit, the whole thing, and then you'll guess at the, when I feel like I've tortured you enough, you will guess at the number and give me your name, and then you will win a crappy prize for my bag. And today's prize is, let me see what I have in here. Oh, here we go. An empty Tom smoothie, king-size bottle that I will sign for you because recently I've gotten some old man stuff with ketchup going on. So every time I eat it, I get the heartburn. So before I start, thank you guys so much for coming out to karaoke last night. Because the new karaoke crew, we really, really love doing it, and there's new energy there. And it's sort of Fridays I feel like the mayor of Fridays when I do this. We're sort of like winding you guys up for the main event, these other guys, and it's the most interactive day that we have. And karaoke is a free event, and we try to make it really good for you. And as always, I will be at my table saying hey to people throughout Sundays. If you don't have to buy anything, just come up and say hello. So I'm going to pick this number right now, and we're going to get on to the World's Shittiest Game Show. How many children are here? Are there a lot of children here? Okay, if there's ever anything that they need to have their ears covered for, I'm not joking when I say that. You really want to cover some ears. I don't want to traumatize any children. So I'm going to guess this number, and it is perfect. You'll never guess it. Okay, so let's start. Hey, I started on this side yesterday, so I'll start on this side today. Hey, welcome to the world's crappiest game show. I'm your host, DJ Qualls. Hi.
I just wanted to ask about your time on Big Bang Theory. What was it like working with Kaylee Cuoco and Jim Parsons?
Okay, so she asked what my time on Big Bang Theory was like. Well, I will tell you this. So I've known Johnny Galecki for like 20 years. He played what, Leonard? Okay, I never know anybody's character names. I know these people in real life. So, I did not have a great time with Chuck Lorre, who's the showrunner of the show, I'm not gonna lie. I was supposed to do 10 episodes of that. I literally move in with them on the show and you never see me again. It's because at curtain call, I did this. I want to be off the show. And they released me from my contract. It just wasn't a great time. Chuck Lorre is this kind of guy who'd be like, hey, I want you to walk 4 steps, say half your line, turn to the left, say the other half of your line. He was just so controlling. And it had this long monologue, you know, that whole like, it was the Philippines, too big day, that whole thing. It was a 4-page monologue that he rewrote like right up until 5 minutes before he taped it. And then I heard him in the sound booth doing this. This guy can't remember anything. I'm like, because you just wrote this. And so we just did this, and at curtain call, I love Kaylee. What a lot of people don't know about Big Bang is I screen tested against Jim Parsons for that role, but they were never going to give it to me. He just drugged me through 6 weeks of auditions because it was always the other guy, because CBS said that they wanted to see a face they recognized. It was never going to be me. So the 10 episodes I got were supposed to be like here, have this. And I didn't like it, so I quit. As a matter of fact, driving to work that day, I may have powers that I'm not aware of, because driving to work that day, I was praying that Warner Brothers would burn down, and a fire broke out there, but in the wrong building. My manifester is rusty. I'm gonna fix that though. Well, thank you for that question. It's a little bit of a bummer. I really hate saying things that I don't like, but as you come to expect from me, I'm the truth 24 hours a day. When I did my first movie, I did the Tonight Show for it. Jay was like, "So, what's it like to be in the movies?" I'm like, "Breckenmeyer is me." And everybody's like, "Dude, you can't do that." I'm like, "I will only ever do that." But also, if you're awesome, I will tell that on TV too. So, what's your name and your guess?
Olivia.
Hey, Olivia.
Wait, what are my numbers again? Thank you.
1 to 125.
111.
111. That's a great guess. It's wrong, but thank you so much. Hey.
Hi, I'm Ravina. My question is, what is the silliest lie you have told someone?
The silliest lie I ever told someone? I don't know. Jesus. The silliest lie I ever told someone. I'm a good liar. Probably the amount of sex people I've had sex with. It's a lot. I'm on television. Here's the thing that people actually think I'm a virgin. Like, because I played a bunch of virgins, because I'm wearing a virgin costume. So people think that I'm actually a virgin, and I'm like, I'm on television. Even if I was the least good-looking guy in the entire world, people would want to have sex with somebody on TV. So that I've definitely diminished how many sexual partners. It hasn't been that much. It's what's the line from? It's less than Madonna, more than Princess Di. That did not age well. There's gonna be a lot of that. So what's your name and your guess?
Ravina, R-A-V-E-N-A,
Ravina?
and 23.
I like your name. Thank you so much for playing the World Cheatest Game Show. Hey!
Hello again.
Hello again.
Hi.
You are a blur to me. I can't see you because these lights are blinding.
I was at your table yesterday.
Oh, right
I
on.
was the one that we talked about Virginia Beach.
Oh, right. I've been to Virginia Beach.
And my question is, if you had to pick an actual game show between you and the characters that you played, who do you think would win and what game show?
Oh, you mean all the characters I've played in what game show? Well, a lot of my characters, I'm playing my own family, and it definitely would not be Jeopardy then. Because I love my family, but, you know, we're not the smartest people we've ever met. As a matter of fact, I did a movie, Larry the Cable Guy, that actually premiered here in Washington, D.C. for the president. That was a whole story I told yesterday. What was I talking about? Oh, game shows. Oh yeah, it wouldn't be Jeopardy. Oh, because my family's not that smart. They're lovely people though, some of them. Although my cousin Steve is a gun nut and he's not a very nice man. So I started to buy things to leave to my family as like expensive booby prizes. I bought my cousin Steve the gun nut and willed him this in my will. 2 giant British 1840s porcelain statues that he's going to look at, and he has to keep them for 10 years before he can sell them, or the estate will take them back. And also have an idea of having an ATM at all the money's in a trust account, and you have to go to an ATM in a remote location, and you can only draw out $300 at a time, and you can only do it once every 2 weeks. I've got some anger towards people. I don't know, probably, well, Family Feud? Probably Family Feud? Oh, I love myself some Wheel of Fortune. As a matter of fact, I really love The Price is Right. Today, I thought my pickup was at 10:55, but it was 10:15. I was in my underwear watching the Wheel of Fortune, the Price is Right from yesterday. It was Expecting Mom's Price is Right, and the lady won the double showcase. It was awesome. What's your guess? What's your name and your guess?
Kelly and 79.
Kelly and 79? You know, somebody brought this to my attention, that people were interpreting sign language here yesterday. It's very hard to keep up with me because I start a story and then don't finish it and then go back to it. And then a man told me yesterday that I talk fast. And I was like, well, it's because I'm going to die one day and I've got a lot to say. Kelly, come back to the microphone because I've forgotten what your number was.
79.
79. You're smart. Don't leave that microphone until I acknowledge what your number was. Hey, 79, where are you from? Oh, Virginia Beach, that's right. Hey!
Hello. My question is from the movie Road Trip.
I was in that movie.
Yeah. Did you keep the cheetah panties?
There are two? That's a very good question. There are 2 pairs of those underwear. One is in the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas, and one is in my nightstand. That's the truth. And I'll tell you a story about my nightstand. So Mr. Fizzles also lives in my nightstand. So the Underwear road trip and that puppet are in my nightstand. And my buddy was staying with me, and I won't tell his name. And he was looking for, he had a guest over, so he was looking for prophylactics. I can say that, children won't know what it means. He was looking for prophylactics, and I was like, oh, there's some in my nightstand. And he went in there and came out with a giant pair of underwear and a sock puppet. I'm like, it's not what it looks like, sadly. That was a really good question. What's your name and your guess?
Jesse, 31.
Jesse, 31. We're zipping right along today. I love this. I'm remembering everything.
Hey, DJ,
Hey.
my question is, what has been the worst and best pickup lines that you've gotten anywhere else?
But I've gotten?
Or that you've used?
I don't, I mean, this is a bummer, but I can't lie about this. I don't use pickup lines. Like, I don't know that people are attracted to me until like months later. Like, remember that time that person hit on you? I'm like, I have no memory of that. It just never occurs to me that somebody wants to have sex with me. It's so sad. I'm gonna eat a muffin in the mirror tonight with tears in my eyes. But I don't really use them. I hate, but here's the thing that something's happened to me. I don't know what happens at this stage of my life, but all of my male friends have like the 2 a.m. bar leer, like this. Like looking at potential, partners for the evening or whatever. I've never done that. And I always think it's gross. I was in Venice with my buddy Theo, who's a dirtbag, and I was talking to him, and a really attractive girl walked by, and he asked me a really personal, detailed question, and I'm telling him an honest answer, and he does this. And I was like this, motherfucker, are you crazy? You just asked me something really intensely personal, and I'm telling you this. He was like, I didn't do that. I'm like, you always do it. I've started to do it. Like, my whole Instagram feed is douchebags touching their faces without shirts on, and babies. I think I'm in a nesting point in my life right now, but yeah, I don't use pickup lines. I just come right out with it. I'm like, hey, I don't say that. I was gonna say, hey, Ron, you wanna bang? I don't do that. What's your name and your guess?
My name is Jill, and I'm gonna guess the year I was born.
Is it Jill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we spoke yesterday about Rhode Island Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna guess the year I was born in 91.
91? You were born in 1991? Hi.
Hi. So my question is, what's the hardest scene you've had to do as Garth? Whether someone kept making you laugh or like you just couldn't remember?
Oh, the hardest. Oh my gosh. One time Jared, when I was playing, I was like in a scene that was in Texas. I was playing no, I don't remember where I was. I was playing a guy named Corporal Bobby Brown. So I was wearing a military outfit, and Garth could never, pull off a suit because he felt like he said it made him look like a funeral director. And so he would always dress his character like a Texas Ranger. And so there was a scene where I walk into a morgue, and Sam and Dean are already there, and they do this. Oh God. And I'm like, and so they're looking at a coroner's report. And so he hands the coroner report, I do this, and he hands it to me. And they're the stars of the show, so their coverage is first, right? They filmed in first. When it was my turn, I get the coroner's report, but it's not a coroner's report. It is a piece of paper that has stick figures doing the dirtiest stuff you've ever thought to. Like, I was like, God, when I opened it, did this. And then lost it for the rest of the time. And the thing is, when you laugh, they make you laugh. They stop laughing at some point, but you keep laughing. And so it looks really unprofessional. They pranked me the whole time. I went to this yesterday. Like I hate mayonnaise more than everything, and they put mayonnaise all over my trailer once, and fart spray in my trailer. The pranksters. But here's the thing. I think they only prank people they like. So that makes you feel really good. What's your name and your guess?
Lexi and 47.
Lexi? I remember you. Lexis?
Lexi's
Yes, Lexi. I got it right the first time. Lexi, correct. What's your guess?
47.
47. Awesome. Thank you so much for playing the World Chance Game Show. Hi!
Hi. So my question is, we got the ending with in Z Nation where
Let's start that question again.
so if we got the ending in Z Nation where where we actually saw the cure happen. What do you think would have happened with Citizen Z?
Oh, if you mean if the show had actually ended, not in like we went back to normal life?
Yeah, where instead of like the cliffhanger where Murphy just ate the brain, and we actually got to see where the cure kind of like happened and everything.
Yeah. Let me tell you about that show. They never knew what was happening until that episode. There was no linear thing at all. The show was, I loved doing Z Nation because I was doing something really highbrow. I was doing Man in the High Castle, which was like $10 million an episode, and then doing Z Nation at the same time, which was like $300,000, $400,000 an episode. I shot a rocket launcher. This is how low budget it was. They couldn't afford the CGI for a rocket launcher, so I had to shoot a real one. So they could only frame me from the waist up. So I had it on my arms, on my shoulder right here, and underneath me was a stunt guy on both legs holding me down and one behind me. So when it pushed me back, he just did it back. That's how low budget the show was. There was no forethought. So you're asking me to predict what would have happened in a show that our sort of crowning achievement was the Liberty Bell rolling down a hill and mowing down zombies, or a giant wheel of cheese that just kept circulating around America that we just had to. We had nothing else better to show than mowing down zombies. Probably, well, the world's already destroyed, so even if they cure it, there's no deodorant, there's no shaving cream, there's no, here's the thing, 10 minutes after the power goes out, I'll put a gun in my mouth. I do not want to live anymore. I need the internet. What's your name and your guess?
Jessica and 30.
Years ago, my dad told me that if I lived 100 years before that, I would be dead in 20 minutes. I'm like, I have no skills. I can't mow the grass in a straight line. So what's your guess?
30.
30. Thank you, Jessica. It was a fun show to do. Killing zombies is super fun. Hi.
Hi, I'm Lana, and this is me and my friend's first Supernatural Con.
Oh, I know y'all. How's it going?
It's going great. And,
You know me well enough at this point that you can speak in your full voice. We've hung out a bunch. I'm your bro.
And, so my question also relates to Z Nation.
Okay.
So if Garth and Citizen Z were to go on a hunt together, what would they hunt? And you can't say zombies.
Well, they couldn't hunt animals because Garth is a vegan. Well, no, actually, we would hunt animals. That makes him a vegan. Cows, they'd hunt cows because that's what the werewolves eat. They eat cow hearts.
Like a supernatural hunt, like hunters.
So if by two characters from Z Nation and so if Garth and what's his name? Oh, Citizen Z. If they went to hunt something, what would they hunt? Well, they couldn't hunt vampires because Ty's a vampire. They couldn't hunt werewolves because I'm a werewolf. What else are there?
Wendigos.
Flamingos? They would hunt flamingos. What's a brandino? That sounds like something you have at a Mexican restaurant. See, here's the thing. I cannot watch this show because I know all the people on it. I told this story yesterday, but I'll tell it again. One of my buddies got nominated for an Academy Award. And everybody's like, have you seen Homie's film? I'm like, I have not seen Homie's film because when I had my housewarming party, Homie took mushrooms and I found him naked and crying in my upstairs bathroom. You can never watch your friends pretend. It is weird. You can't do it. I've only seen like 3 things that I've ever done in my whole life because of that. And nobody wants to see themselves. It's very hard to see yourself perform and do anything. So he would hunt branditos. Flamingos? What is it? Tell me again. Wendigos. Yeah, that's what he would hunt. I have no idea. That's an impossible question for me. Yeah, I don't know this stuff. I watch the Food Network, The Amazing Race, and Survivor. They would hunt Jeff Probst. He's very handsome. Okay, I know you guys. Okay, and what's your guess?
My guess is 42.
42. It's good. Oh wait, did anybody else guess that? Hey, so if y'all do happen to hear anybody guess the same number, I know you can't keep track of it either, but just yell it out to me, okay? You have to help me with this. Hey,
Hi. I wanted to say thank you for being part of the karaoke night. We really like a lot of energy to
Thank you for
things.
coming. We love it.
No apocalypse skills. We love game shows. Good with people. What do you think, though, about yourself? What qualities do you admire in yourself?
I am a really loyal friend. I have infinite amount of patience for people that I love. And believe me, the fools that I collect have tried my patience over and over and over again. Also, I've owned my house for like 12 years. I've had 6 different people live with me, and I only knew one of them. Like this guy named Ron, I met at a bar on the same day that he lost his job, and his girlfriend broke up with him, and he lived with me for a year and a half. Like, that's my thing. My love language is acts of service. Like, if you stay at my house, like, I would get your dirty clothes and read the labels and do that, and they would fold it up and put it back on your bed. I like to do things for people. My love language is, you have to buy me things. It really is, though. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I'm a loyal guy, I'm a loving guy, and I think, honestly, Garth is the character that's closest to who I am. I'm hard to anger, but once we're there, we're there. But I'm an easy forgive. I give people chances and chances and chances until I can't anymore. But that's a great question, so thank you so much. And what was your name and your guess?
I just wanted to say my best friend Amy is like you. She does acts of service, and she loves gifts. So that just makes me feel a little bit closer to you.
Oh, that's awesome. If she was a man, I'd be all over her. By the way, if anybody has any bad date, tell me about it after the show. That's where I am right now. Dating is hard. If you're with somebody and you can remotely deal with them, you keep them. Because it is hard to meet people. I told this story yesterday, but it bears repeating. I met a guy at the airport. We had a meet cute. Like, my flight was delayed 10 and a half hours. I got drunk, I bought some cologne, and I met a guy and we went on a couple of dates. In the middle of the night, I get this text from him. What did you say? Oh, you can't hear me? Okay. So in the middle of the night, I get this text from this guy who seemed perfectly fine. I know, right? I heard it, and it is an My ideal relationship would be with 2 girls and a guy. So I guess you could say I'm open to anything. And my response was, you cannot afford that many bathrooms on your salary. That's what the dating world is like right now. It is very hard to meet people. I'm all open for that, but that's very confusing for me. I'm an old-fashioned kind of gay.
Lisa, 56.
Awesome, Lisa. Thank you so much. Hi.
Hi. So I just want to say first that you are like the sweetest person. And
Thank you so much.
Getting to meet you and like getting the autographs is absolutely amazing. And my question is, how would Citizen Z react if he met Garth and Garth told him that he was worth?
How would Citizen Z react if he met? He'd probably try to kill him. I mean, think about that. That's pretty traumatic. His whole life has been turned upside down. And anything that comes into his compound that is not human, he has to kill. I mean, his dog turned into a zombie, which was the dumbest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And the thing about that dog is that the #1 question I get asked about D-Nation is where the dog went. So the first season we had this dog. The dog we got it really cheap. He was kind of trained. These people had no money for anything. So they got a dog that would kind of come to you. The dog got famous between the first and second seasons. He got a giant dog food commercial, and we couldn't afford the dog anymore. So the second season, we got a dog that looked nothing like this dog, that was completely untrained. He wouldn't do anything. Well, the third season, we got another dog that was like half as trained as the dog that was half trained. So like, trained? I don't know. For the third season, it was 3 different dogs, right? And this dog would kind of do what you needed to him, but only for like 5 minutes. So we had this wolf pelt that we stuffed with bubble wrap that we put in the background that we would put out of focus, and somebody would shake the little box that he was in to make him look alive. The problem was, we brought the dog on stage once before we removed the wolf pelt, and the dog smells like dead dog. He became scared of us, and he would never do anything we asked him to do ever again. So in the fourth season, they made me pull a dog sled out of the Arctic to Spokane, Washington, which is also the second dumbest thing we ever did. Spokane's awesome, by the way. Spokane's one of my favorite. It's a great. Do you know that Spokane has the most funeral homes per capita than any other city in the United States? It really does, though. A little tidbit for you there. So they made me pull a dog sled from the Arctic, from the North Pole, right? The dog disappears, you never see him again. So the number one question I get is, what happened to the dog? I think they ate him. I really do, because our compound got breached, and I don't think I'm doing a very good job of selling the show. It's pretty funny. It's a funny show, but I think they ate that dog. I think that's how they got at it. Where's that marker? What's your name?
Jade.
Oh, that's right. And what's your guess?
121.
121. Thank you so much for playing the World Cheese Game Show. Hello.
Hi, I was at the panel yesterday and I remembered the JC story and I loved it. So I've got
Somebody told me today that sometimes ballroom dancers do compete until 1:15 in the morning. So maybe he doesn't have a family in Pasadena. Or maybe he does. That's the thing I suspected. Maybe he does.
I wanted to ask, what is the worst date you have ever been on?
Okay, I have an answer for that. This happened recently. So I meet this guy. And I remember thinking, this guy is so handsome, I can't believe that he's talking to me. And so then I got home the next morning, and my memories wouldn't back it up, right? So I did a crudely constructed photo. I was like, I think he's like a Persian Luigi, and with a full beard. So I mocked that up and showed everybody. I was like, oh, that's him. Everybody who was around us. So I went on a couple dates with him. He's actually, that is what he looked like. I should be a police sketch artist. Like, I'm telling you, I did it perfectly. But there was something about it that was kind of off. But he was very nice, and he was a lawyer. And he spoke Farsi with a southern accent, because he's Persian, but he's from Kentucky, which I thought was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. But he was this tall, and that's great for me. And so we went on a couple dates, but there was something kind of off about it, but he was very sweet. And then I was supposed to go to a Mexican restaurant in my neighborhood with him on Thursday. He'd never been there. It's a really great place. Great margaritas, great food. He'd been there for like 50 years. And so, but then Tuesday night, I get a call from somebody that works at my local pub running trivia that he had beaten up the doorman, and and he's this tall, and the doorman is this tall. That's a lot of rage, and he beat the hell out of this guy, and then walked across to the other place I go to that my friend owns, and was thrown out of there. So I was like, hey buddy, I have to cancel this day, and he was like, I wish you would hear my side. I was like, there's no side that could have happened short of you being under a physical threat to beat up somebody, and then get thrown out. At this bar, your shoes stick to the floor. I've never seen anybody get thrown out of there before. It's hard to throw it out of the place. Anyway, cut to, it is St. Patrick's Day. I go to see an Irish band, and he's there. And he's the worst singer and dancer in the entire world, and it was so cute. And he's really into it. So then I was, and then. And so then he was like, let's get out of here and go somewhere else. And so we went to another place, and we'd never been before, and everybody's like buying us drinks, patting us on the back, saying what a great looking couple we are. And then he was like, I really like you. And then 2 minutes later, he turns to me, he's like, but at some point I'm going to cheat on you. And then I said this, motherfucker, you couldn't cheat on me. I would never commit to you. Take me home. And we went out 4 more times. No, he really did. I'm hitting my stride now. I'm starting to feel this Red Bull kick in. You guys are in for something now. What was your name and your guess?
So my name is Cindy, not Cindy. Cindy.
I got you, Cindy.
Okay, awesome. My guess is going to be 52.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yes.
Hey!
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful, how are you?
Good. So my question is, huge fan of Breaking Bad.
Oh, I love that show.
Of Creep Show. So I was just wondering, how did we come about getting a guest star role on Breaking Bad and on Creep?
So on Breaking Bad, they called and offered me the show. I'd never seen it before. It was like the second season. So the show was getting good word of mouth, but it wasn't that popular. So I went on, and he said it to me. I read it. It was so good. I was like, I have to do this. But it was so, and let me tell you, I took everything that wasn't nailed down. Like, I left with pocketfuls of blue med. Like, I have like 4 bags of it. Because that's what I'm like. Because at some point, my career may hit the skids and all this shit's going on eBay. And also for the memories or whatever. And so that scene, the New York Times called it one of the 10 best cold opens in the history of the show because it was one camera. And it was started between us, it pulled out, there are people walking by, there's a guy with balloons, there's a truck, and if there was any problem, we had to reset to 1. It took hours, and I was crapping myself at first, because it was like, I was flubbing lines, I was nervous, everything has to reset. But it came out so beautifully. Well, Bryan Cranston he just won the Emmy. And I think it was his first Emmy. He brought it to work, and shook my right hand, and it was like, hey, do you want to hold this Emmy? And I put it in my left hand, it slipped through my fingers, and I dropped it. I dropped Bryan Cranston's Emmy, like, probably about 2 minutes into meeting him. It scared the hell out of me, but he told me he had dropped it twice on the first night he had it, so it made me feel better. And they're kind of indestructible. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Breaking Bad. And but they asked, after I did my episode, I had them send me the whole first season, because I can do that. I can have people send me stuff. And so I had them send me the whole first season, and I loved it so much that they asked me to come back to the 3rd season, and I said no. Because once you see too far behind the curtain, you can't watch it anymore. Which is why I can't watch Supernatural. It's why I can't watch my buddy's Academy Award nominated film, because I had to put his pants back on it. But I loved it. And what was the other show? Oh, Creep Show. So Creep Show, they wanted me to fly out on a Wednesday. They offered it to me on a Monday, and it's 41 pages of solo dialogue delivered directly to camera. It's me and a tennis ball. Until they animated that thing, right? And it was a puppet for a little bit too. And so I was like, send me the first day's work, and if I can remember all the dialogue, because this is what always happens with producers. Like, oh, it doesn't matter. You can learn it while we shoot it, but you get there and don't know it's all the lines. They don't care that they told you the lines 5 minutes before they called action. It's your fault. But I was able to memorize it, and Greg Nicotero, who does The Walking Dead, he does like all the special effects makeup, he directed it, and now we're good buddies, and it's just so great, and I love horror, and I want to do much more of it, and horror things usually shoot at night, and that's my natural clock. So you wake up at 5 p.m., you go to work at 6, and you work until 7 o'clock in the morning. And I love that time schedule. It's getting out of it's a little hard. But I just love that kind of stuff. But it was really easy to memorize that massive amount of dialogue. Also, I felt connected to it. And I got to do cool stuff. Like, I got to take a sledgehammer and beat watermelons. Like, I remember I was trying to get my stepchildren's head down the drain. I mean, it's a really cool thing. If you haven't seen Creep Show, it's free right now on... No, but it's actually on Amazon right now. Shudder's doing a free thing on Amazon, so look it up. If you have Amazon Prime, it's really, really fun. It's a fun show. And for people who are a little older, it's like sort of a revamp of the Creep Show movies that were really awesome when I was little. They're really great. What's your name and your guess?
So my name is Laura, and I'm going to guess the year I was born, 84.
84? Well, that's a normal age.
Hey, so I'm bisexual and I know that you came out as gay like 1 or 2 years ago.
Like a champ, I did. In the most dramatic fashion. I was at, here's what happened. So before, I'm sorry. But I have to tell this story. I've actually never told this story before. So here's what happened. So one of my best friends is a stand-up comedian named Jim Jeffries. So isn't he awesome? He took me to see Elton John's farewell tour. And Elton John, it's basically like he's in a place now where he's very hard for him to walk because he did so many drugs, right? So the show is him driving around a sparkly piano, and they cut the lights 5 times, and they change his sparkly blazer and sparkly glasses. And so at one point, he hobbles down from the piano, goes center stage, and gives 15 minutes of gratitude, talking about how the fans, his heart stopped twice when he was hard on drugs, and the fans really, their support brought it back. It's like, we need you, the music is powerful. I mean, he's a really great musician, right? And his music means a lot to people. So he talked about how that brought him back. Well, Jim's mother had just died, and a lot of his early comedy was calling her an elephant, right? And so he wanted to honor no, not honor that, but honor the sort of like, he was taking the piss out of her, making fun of her, but he loves her, and he was like, maybe I should give 15 minutes of gratitude. Where Jim is famous for saying the words, see you next Tuesday. He's famous for that, right? And so I was like, and his fans are all rednecks. And I'm like, Jim, if you did that, there would be a moment of silence. And actually, I'm quoting this, and I can say it because I've reclaimed this word, so I don't want your emails. You can email me though. No, wait, you can't do this. We haven't got your question. Anyway, I was like, there would be a moment of silence and somebody would do this. Fag, right, is Elton John, stop talking. So all of these guys in flashing glasses turn around and think, I called Elton John a fag. And my friend was like this, no, my mate's gay. So Jim opens his next tour with that story. And so, he kills, but he's doing it in San Diego, and I'm there in the wings, and he almost says my name twice. And he's bombing, and it just hit me so hard. I'm like, my friend loves me so much that he doesn't want to out me, but he's bombing on stage. And I was like, why is this even a thing anymore? So I went on stage, I was like, that story's about me. And he went, you doing this, mate? Really doing this? I'm like, that story's about me. I'm the gay guy in question. And I sat back down, all proud of myself. 5 minutes later, it's news in Poland. So, and I'm not joking. My publicist is like, you have to release a statement. Right now, I'm like, I'm drunk and I can't. And so I did this. Anyway, that's how I came out. What's your question? We can do it real fast. Wait, did the lights get turned on because I'm getting off stage? Is it? All right, perfect. Well, I didn't have to tell them that fast then. Sorry, guys.
So I'm just wondering if you received like any hate or any negative feedback online or in person about it, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I got a lot of that. But here's the thing. When you are totally yourself, when you become the person you're meant to be, and you're totally honest about it with the world, approval doesn't matter to you anymore. It really doesn't. It's amazing. It was something I didn't understand the absence of care of other people's opinion of me, judgment. I don't feel it anymore. I really, really don't. If my intentions are clear, I make tons of mistakes. I will make mistakes to the day I die, obviously. But I'm aware of my mistakes, or when my mistakes are being brought to my attention, I'm repentant of them. I want forgiveness for them. I want to make it better because I don't want to be an asshole to anybody. But if you think I'm doing something or you have a judgment about something I can't change about myself, it has nothing to do with me. So I released that, and I didn't know that was possible until I started being honest about myself with the world. And it's so amazing and powerful. And I'm more compassionate, I'm a nicer person, I'm a better everything. People say be yourself, cliches are true. Cliches are true. But the problem is a lot of people that tell you to be yourself don't want you to be yourself. They want to be the self that they need you to be. And you're going to die one day. Yeah, I found that out recently. I'm going to die. I'm looking into it, I may not. But this kind of awareness of how short life is, everybody talks about how short life is, but it is so short. Your main job is to make yourself happy and be yourself. And everybody in the entire world benefits from that, whether or not they know it. They really do. So did you have a question, or did I just talk at you for like 12 minutes?
No, that was my question, but I just wanted to say like thank you for telling me that, because I have grandparents that like are really homophobic and transphobic, so I'm like kind of coping with that right now.
It really sucks, and there's nothing that can make that better except for the fact that it has nothing to do with you. And there are things about yourself that you can't change, and there really is a thing, no matter how much you love people, either you learn how to deal with that inside the relationship, and it's like, well, we can't talk about this, or you have to move on. Because the world is begging to love you. There are people out there, there's somebody out there, there's so many people out there waiting to be like, hey, I didn't know I needed you until I met you. The world is full of that. I'm meeting them every day. And so, as long as you're yourself, you will ultimately be happy. There's life has sadness in it, and that will always be a sad spot. There's no way to be happy unless you're 100% yourself. It's the truth. Who wants to hide anything? Stop doing that. What's your name and your guess?
My name is Tina, and my guess is 13.
Say your name one more time.
Tina, and my guess is 13.
I got you, Tina. Thank you so much. Got a little Oprah up in this bitch, didn't we? Hey.
Hi.
I recognize you. How are you?
I'm good. So I don't actually want to ask this question, but it has to do with the Little Rascals, kind of.
Oh, the Little Rascals?
Yes.
I love the Little Rascals. How do you know that?
I know, I love it too.
are you saying?
I know.
Speaking to my mic, I think yours is broken. Oh, she said she knows some things about me, but not in a creepy way because she loves me. Oh, I don't mind if you're creepy with me. Come over here. You can be creepy with me anytime you want. I'm telling you, there's a handful of actors that you don't have much to do about them. I would have 5 restraining orders against me. And the thing is, I meet actors all the time when I'm like this. I cannot believe, I met an actress named Alfre Woodard who did a movie called Scrooge when I was a little boy, and I loved her so much. She was like the mom I sort of wanted. And so I sat down next to her at a table read and did this. And she turned to me, she went like this, hey, and I went like this, I love you. And then she said, my 8-year-old daughter has a giant crush on you, and now she's one of my best friends. So maybe 10 years from now, you'll be my neighbor, and we'll be best friends, you never know. So tell me about the Little Rascals.
Okay, so since we've been talking about you going back to dating, I was wondering if you're looking for an alfalfa or a Darla form of personality.
Oh, that's a good question.
And if you are an alfalfa or a Darla.
There's only room for one alfalfa in this relationship, and I'm the alfalfa. I don't understand the alfalfa. Actually, my hair's been sticking up all day too. I think I'm a better singer than I am, and my hair sticks up. I probably would. I'm more of a spanky person. I like a big dude.
No, like I see that.
Like I like a bro, a big dude, somebody that we have to put pillows between us because if he rolled over in the night, he would smother me. I like something that size. So that's what I want. But speaking of that show, though, there was an episode of it. Do you remember this episode when they like go down to like into a giant's cave and they get all this treasure? Yeah. So because of that, I'm a magpie now. Like I like shiny things made of gold. I once got high back when people smoked weed. Listen, when weed became legal, I have to tell the story. When weed became legal in California, every person in the world went down to Venice Beach, said they had back problems to a guy wearing a giant pot leaf costume, and got a prescription for medical marijuana. I went to a dispensary. I'd never smoked weed before. I didn't drink until I was 21 years old. And so I went by myself to a dispensary, and all of the pot is called like scary names, like devil semen, and all awful stuff, right? And so I bought something called Trainwreck, which is the most innocent kind of weed. You know, it was the most innocuous of all the dangerous weed. So I got it, and I never rolled a joint before. So the joint that I rolled was kind of like an envelope. So I kept doing like this, and getting little wasp breaths of smoke. And so like I smoked all the weed, because I wasn't getting any of it. And the thing is, if you have to ask if you're high, you're definitely high. You have to ask if you're high. So I didn't know this. So all of a sudden, like 30 minutes after I finished this weed, I start panicking. My heart's racing, and then I look online, and all of it says, don't go to the emergency room, you can't overdose on weed, right? But then I was like, what do you do if you've oversmoked? And the internet said, do something not challenging. So I turned on PBS and started watching this documentary about this film star named Mary Pickford, the world's first movie star. She was the most famous person in the entire world at this point. 10 times more famous than Madonna or anybody else, Lady Gaga or any of these people, because film changed how the world looked at itself. Never before in human history could you be in Ohio and in China and see the same thing on the same day. It was the first time we had a communal experience as a species. So film was wildly popular back then, like way more than now. So I'm watching this documentary and it's calming me down a bit, but in the middle of it, I start predicting stuff that's going to happen to her. Like specifically, I was like, she's going to get on a boat with her second husband and she's going to go to England. And she did. And so then I'm like, and then she's going to do this, and then she did that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm Mary Pickford reincarnated. She felt unappreciated, I feel unappreciated. On the internet, she died the same year that I was born. And I'm like, I'm Mary Pickford reincarnated. I start freaking out, start crying. By this time, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'm panicking, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. I realized who I was in a former life. That's profound, and I'm high. And so I heard this voicemail. My buddy John lives back in Tennessee, so he was 2 hours ahead of me. This is the voicemail that I called him. It left. Hey John, it's DJ, I'm scared. Mary Pickford called me back. And I croaked. So I wake up with all these voicemails because I wound up passing out. I took some time on him and knocked my ass out. So I woke up the next morning and I have all these voicemails. And they're like this. Hey DJ, it's John. What the hell's going on over there? And so I woke up the next morning going, that was crazy. Can we make you hallucinate? In some cases, like maybe I had an hallucination. So I pulled up the television listings from the night before to make sure I hadn't imagined the whole thing, to see if the documentary of Mary Pickford had played, and it had played. But sometimes at the end of the night on PBS, they run out of programming and they play the same thing twice. I was so high